How are you all doing this evening? It has been a long week, honestly. I'm pleased to be here and talking Warhammer. We're back for episode 2 of Fix My List. This was incredibly popular the first time round, so I'm going to keep doing them because people enjoy them. I like it as well. List building is one of my favourite parts of the hobby. So we have got a few lists to go through here. We've got some Warriors of Chaos, some Skaven, we've got some Undead, some Tomb Kings, some Ogres, Beastmen, Bretonnians. A good spread. Only one duplicate on there, I think. So, yeah, we'll get to it. Then when we get to the end, we'll see how much time we have and whether I end up building some rubbish. I've got my eye on like a Heralds list, a Warriors of Chaos Heralds list. Just because the chosen chariots must be good. They've got countercharge, so I'm fixated on them currently. The problem is they're stuck in the Heralds of Darkness army rules, which is just a real shambles of a rule set. All right, we got Anthony here, we got Daniel here. Anyone else from the usual crowd? How you all doing? Will G, good evening. Good to have you, Will. Hope you're doing fantastically this evening. Can you tell it's a Friday? And I've had caffeine. I'm so buzzed. I'm ready to go. Let's start off with the first one. Do we have G. Wilder, Gridlock, Flat World Sedge, or Winslow here? Because if any of you are here, it makes sense to start with your list. Those are the... Hey, there we go. We got some people in chat. Adrian F. It'd be amazing if the 140 skeleton block would be countered by Storm Vermin and Plague Monks. Wouldn't that be amazing? Just sheer weight of numbers. Existence is here. Oi, oi. Felix Crab. How many players are there? How many players for Watford? If you're talking Aspot, 130-ish. We've got G. Wilder, we've got Winslow as well. Excellent. Should run a Grand Army Warriors of Chaos and name your Lord Herald of Darkness. That might be the most competitive Herald of Darkness list that I could put together. I forgot what I named the stream. Yeah, so to be fully clear, I don't think I'm the 5th best player in the world, but I think it was Malign Musings posted his stats. I don't know how he does the back end. I don't have any access to them. I know he's got some drop off, and the stats that he had were, I think, up to the 15th of October. And I had 2 very good results in September, so that boosted me up the rankings. But according to one set of rankings, I am the 5th highest rated player in the world at current. So, gotta milk that one while it lasts, eh? All right, well, we'll start off with G. Wilder or Gridlock. So, what did you say about this one? Because, as always, what I do say is let me know if you've got any restrictions for this. Because it's not just about building the most competitive list, because we could do that very quickly. And I think that would, some of that's good, but sometimes you want to stick to a theme. Hey, that Combat Wombat, first time getting to one of those live. Good to have you. You're joining the list of people that I will look at in chat and go, that's a hell of a name. I'm going to remember you alongside Tiggity Figgity. Tiggity was also someone who mentioned that he or was like in the queue to get a list done. He didn't submit one, but you're first up for next time if you want to submit one. I'll probably try and do one of these every couple of weeks or something like that, every 2 or 3 weeks. Existence says, isn't Heralds of Darkness just how many aspiring champs and chosen chariots you can fit? Yeah, Existence, that's the list that I've written. And then do you go for a 4th aspiring champion or do you go for a level 4 sorcerer? That's kind of the thinking. A rough list with no Green Knight. He is the king of Bullshit Mountain. That is very fair. Yeah, I'm going from Dark Elves to playing Bretonnians is an interesting swap. It's a very different playstyle, I think. No, don't apologize, TVFD. Just I'm letting you know if you want to have your list done. Probably either not next Friday, either the Friday after next or the one after that. I'll put the announcement out a couple of days beforehand. You put one in, or you can put one in now and just let me know that that's what you want me to look at. You're top of the priority list. The joys of the Aussie time zone. Yeah, that is rough. I do have a surprisingly large Australian following, I guess, because I did loads of stuff with Australians towards the start. Hey, John, good to have you. How did my game versus Anubis go? Did you get through Skaven to the top cut? So here's the thing. I got through Skaven, almost certainly not to the top cut. In fact, let's just have a quick look at New Recruit, because there is a world that we know my fate. So if we go to EU1, let me just do some quick on the fly. Right, this is where we're at so far. Hit it up in a few weeks. Hell yeah, Tiggity. You just let me know when you're ready. Okay, so the pairings, the rankings. This is what we've got. So end of round 2, there were 5 players who were undefeated, which is a problem because there are only 2 people from each pod going up. And I am in the admin chat, and that has been confirmed. And I'm glad that it's me that's potentially going to get ruined by this, because I don't really care. But so there's James, there's Pash, there's Mifsu. I've definitely said that wrong. There's me, and then there's Anubis as well. And that means that unless, if we go to the pairings, go to round 3 pairings, unless Red Panda, who's playing Beastmen, beats Mifsu, who's playing Orcs and Goblins, and it's a good Orcs and Goblins list. Like, look at this. He's got the Wyvern, he's got double Big Boss, triple Big Boss, including a BSB, Weird Knob, Black Orcs, Fanatics, Doom Divers. It's like very cookie cutter Orcs and Goblins, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's more, it's not like the poison shooting list. So, yeah, I don't know if Beastmen will break this. If Beastmen break it, I get through guaranteed. But if Mifsu wins 11-9, or even, if he wins 11-9, he gets through guaranteed. Marcos, hello from Spain. Great content in your channel. Thank you very much, Marcos. Glad to have you here. Giwanda says, I like the idea of outcast wizards, especially from a hobby point of view. I think they're interesting. I think we can juice them a little more than you have. And John says, how about the mess tier chosen knights? Look at how my boys have grown up. There are some in at least one of the lists, but we'll get to that one. All right. Let's get back to what we were talking about. So we're going to start off with the exile list. Hey, Connor Nichols, my son, my erstwhile son, your deadbeat dad is streaming instead of coming to watch your football game. Looks like Ed has a reason to cheer for the Beastmen after all. I've won the long game. Hey, Beastmen are growing on me, and the reason they're growing on me is because nobody is particularly excited about them, and that makes me excited about them, because I'm like, there's got to be some angle that I can, win games with. So let's get to it, and I'll come back to chat in a bit because I'm getting distracted. So we've got a Baron who's pretty standard. Royal Peg, Shield, General, Frontier Axe, Gauntlet of the Dual, Virtual Knightly Temper. No issues here. This is just a good setup. Paladin has got BSB because it's free, so you may as well. I believe there's Lance on there. Oh no, it might have been a hand weapon. I think it was just it was the concept of a BSB. It wasn't necessarily like purely kitted out. Heavy Armor Shield, Warhorse, Falcon Horn, and then also Virtue of Heroism. This is a very expensive virtue. It gives you Killing Blow and Monster Slayer. I probably wouldn't bother on anything less than a Baron, and even then I prefer this on a Duke. So the Paladin probably just drops that. So in fact, let's just do that now. We'll just get rid of the Virtue of Heroism for now. Then you've got triple Outcast Wizard. One has the Ruby Ring and the Prayer Icon of Quinels, which is the additional range to dispel, and +1 to dispel against hexes, which is not bad. 27-inch range dispel, even if you're only dispelling at +3. It's really nice if you get matched up against something like Sister of the Thorn, a lot of bound spells, remains in play, all of that good stuff. Second Outcast Wizard, that is level 3. Well, they're all level 3. This one's the Flame Strike Wand, which is a single-use fireball. I do actually quite like this item. I'm a big fan of like a hard-hitting Alpha Strike if you can pull it off. And then there's just a pure level 3. There's no Lore Familiar. That's something we're going to change, because Lore Familiar, being able to pick the 2 spells that you want, is very important. Outcast Wizards don't have, I'm pretty sure they don't have a, they don't have a lore at all, so we don't want to be messing around there. Felix says you're excited for them. Can't get any chariots anywhere. What are you talking about? The Chosen Chariots, Felix? How are you? Have you played any games with them? I'd be interested to hear how that goes. So then we've got in core Yeoman Guard, fully equipped. You've gone for polearms. I don't think I'd bother with polearms. Realistically, just go spears. Save the point per model. Like the bigger the unit gets, the more that this is going to hurt. So you probably just go a bigger unit with spears. Honestly, I can't see you ever wanting to not use your shields. Combine it with shield wall. Get the ground, give ground, veteran. They're a big static combat res that just never runs away, basically. 6 Knights of the Realm, 2 units of 10 Peasant Bowmen. Knights of the Realm are fine. I don't love them, but you have to have something. So you can either kind of suck it up and go 55 points of just 11 point per model foot knights, which is fine because you've got artillery they can protect. Or you can go, like, try and make them do something, at which point I like a slightly bigger unit with a war banner. Yeah, and you're saying it makes sense in front of paint, which is absolutely a valid reason to put stuff in. Bretonnians, and especially exiles, have stuff that are just really good. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can just go, oh, this is great, to the point where you can be a little inefficient with some of your choices, or pick the, like, very, like, sort of 1A, 1B, and you can go a little bit mix and match if you prefer the concept of painting something. So let's put this list. Oh, sorry, 5 Pegasus Knights, of course. You narrative gamer, you fluffy man. And then we've got a double bombard and a field trebuchet. The core of this is great. I really like the bones that you're putting down here, but you are quite hobby first. You are, to be fair. Your army looked very nice when I saw it. However, you are running 5 Peg Knights, so. Let's see. So Baron can just stay as he is. Honestly, you might even go... this is kind of optional. Oops, no, that's not optional. I think I'd put the Falcon Horn on him if you're not going for a defensive item. Yes, he is going to want to be in combat a bit, but he's got He's got leadership 9 compared to the Paladin's leadership 8. By the time you're factoring in a reroll, you almost never fail leadership 9, because that's what 12, 11... 10, 1 in 6, 1 in 36. You do want to win occasionally. I want you to win occasionally as well. That sounds like I'm just shitting on your playability. I want you to win as much as you can, bud. I want good things for you. That just sounds patronizing. I'm gonna work on that. I think. Cool. So, Paladin. A BSB is super solid. I don't see where he goes in this list, honestly, because I don't love putting him in the mounted Knights of the Realm, because he's going to die very quickly. Then your opponent gets 100 points additional for the Battle Standard Bearer and for the regular banner, assuming they've died in combat. He wasn't equipped with anything like a lance, but we just put a lance on him. I think, and this is your army, so you don't have to do it, but I would go Royal Peg. I think if you're going to take the Paladin with a BSB, I think that's solid. I think you probably want it in the Royal Pegasus. I'm not going to put a second squad in unless you particularly want another unit of 3. Honestly, I think you'd have to cut some fairly key parts to make that work. But otherwise, let's just assume that you're working with, the sort of bones of what you got and go from there. And you shout up if there's anything that you particularly like that I mention. So, with this level 3, we're going to give the Lore Familiar. I assume that goes to the 3 additional Pegasus Knights. Yeah, that would get a little bit dull. So this level 3 is going to pick up the Lore Familiar. I'm also going to put a Power Scroll on him. So the reason for that is the spells you're going to be picking probably every game is you're going to go Arcane Urgency, Fireball, Pillar of Fire. Arcane Urgency at a +3 is like you need to roll a 7. That's not reliable. Sometimes you just need Arcane Urgency to go off. So you really, really want to get it. This is where the Power Scroll comes in. I think Power Scrolls are the most underused item in Old World. So I think people should be looking at using them more. I should be looking at using them more. Problem is, you get really tight with a list. And you're like, oh, what do I want to put in? And you don't think about the consumables because they're very easy to overlook. So then we've got an Outcast Wizard with the Ruby Ring and the Prayer Icon. This is solid. I might be tempted to put the Prayer Icon, and this is kind of splitting hairs. I might be tempted to put the Prayer Icon on the one that doesn't have the Ruby Ring, because you theoretically want to be outside of their cast range, especially if you roll into something like Pillar of Fire. So this is like splitting hairs. This is not a problem the way you have it. I think this is something that I would recommend you play around with as well. So we go one with a Ruby Ring of Ruin, and then you go one who's got the Flame Strike wand. But once you've spaffed that, you don't really care about being in like casting range as much. You know, you've only got a 50% chance of rolling a good spell each time you roll up. Something along those lines. Where is the... Oh, no, we can't do that. Because it's an arcane item. Of course it's an arcane item. Yeah, no, cool. The way you have it is perfect, and there is a reason that you did it that way. Good stuff, good stuff. I was just testing to see if I was paying attention, and I failed. Cool. So here we've got a Baron, a Paladin who's just, you know, just there for combat res. So honestly, what are we going with? I think we're going with Banner of Shalons. Yeah. So one of the big things that this list is going to struggle to deal with is, and I'm not super expecting to see a lot of people playing it, but Royal Host, Volley Fire, Stand and Shoot, going to absolutely rinse you. Hey, Lee, hope you're doing well. Good to have you here, buddy. The Banner of Shalons will just turn off Stand and Shoot. Obviously, Iron Drakes hate this. Royal Host hate this. Rangers, yeah. What does that do? Turns off Stand and Shoot. It is the best banner in the book. Even better than the Vanguard banner, I think. You could honestly drop the Vanguard banner on your unit. I'm not saying that you should, but you could drop it because you're bringing so much ranged output that you kind of don't need to worry as much. So we've got... Yeah, so we've put an extra 50 points here, which means that we have to kind of shovel points out of somewhere else. So I've just increased the squad of Yeoman Guard to 37 because you need just a little bit of a bigger unit. Brett's have all the answers. Yeah, Brett's have all the answers. I don't know if they have answers to the Royal Host Big Brick, though. I actually don't know how the Bretonnian players play around that. You just try and get in all of the arcs in one go. Dark Elves have all the questions. Dark Elves have all the answers, and the answer is Double Dragon. I'm a firm believer in Double Dragon. I do like the 2 Peasant Bowmen, which you've got, which is, I'm assuming, 1 each for the Outcast Wizards. A super solid bunker, or they can stand nearby, something like that. Yeah, dragons. This unit wouldn't hate having the War Banner. If you decide that you are taking a small unit, it really does need... It really needs me to click the right thing. War Banner. Okay, so we're now at a lot of points over. I think, because you're... hold on, let's just go back to how many we were on here. 32. I'd like a bigger unit here, but it's... Yeah, a little 1A, 1B. You sort the core how you want to sort it. This is kind of like, if you're going Knights of the Realm, you can go 6. 6 is probably a bit small, but then we're kind of skimping from other things. Honestly, I was going to say I'd drop some Bowmen, but I don't know that I would. Because if you drop the Bowmen, you struggle to... Because we're going so many Wizards, 2 of them are on foot, you want protection for them. Oh, they can go with the... You can drop the Knights. Yeah. I think if you're not like super married to the Knights, it would mean that you're taking a small unit of foot Knights. So it still gives you that kind of painting a heraldry itch, while being a smaller part of your list. Honestly, easier to use as well. I genuinely think the Bretonnian Knights of the Realm are really difficult to use well because they get very little punch. So we're just going to say, yeah, there we go. Hand weapon shields, 55 points. And then everything else is just going into this unit of Yeoman Guard. Again, tweak your core as you want. Like, you can make this work in the way that you want to. But a big brick, this might even be too big. I don't think it is too big. I want it to be bigger. 59. I mean, if we're going for a banner, let's go for the War Banner. 54 with the War Banner. And this has got a lot of static combat res. So close order, 3 ranks, banner, war banner. That's only 6. You really want that 7th. So dragon can't charge you. Yeah, you're the person I got the idea from. Because obviously you have to run them, and if you take, if you're going to take something as an obligatory unit, that is a so. Yeah, 7th is the BSB. That's the problem. We've got the BSB on the paladin here, so 40 is the most you'd reasonably need for yeomen. That is true. Here's the problem. What else are we putting in? You probably go 2 units. So that you kind of tweak the core as you prefer, because with the amount of you do have nice models. You might not want to paint one big unit of 54. You could drop that. You could easily bump the peasant bowman up. In fact, let's just do that to make this look a little bit less silly. So we're going to go 46, and then we'll go 14. Is this how maths works? Yes, because they're sitting points. So something like that is fine. I mean, I prefer multiples of 4, but you get the general idea. That is a lot of yeomen. Hell yeah. Henry says the Exile Knight can join yeomen. Can. But G. Wilder said that he likes the Pegasus model. So it's also good on the Pegasus, to be clear. It's not. This is not like a non-optimal choice. Understand that? Yeah. So there's a lot of things you can do to sort of tweak around with the core. You kind of just go with whatever you prefer model wise, I'd say, because a lot of it is kind of a little 1A 1B. And then what we got, we're over 61 points over. Peg Knights, there's not really anything we can drop there. Bombard, Trebuchet. I think, unfortunately, to make this work, what you do is you have to drop something, right? Oh, tell you what. Let's. So if you want to make this version of the list work, you drop the Trebuchet. If you want to make this version of the list work, you could go on foot. We've doubled up on the Falconhorn. That's where some of the points are going. Silly me. So you've got here a paladin on foot. You could go. Exile Knight can join you. Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't even need a virtue. You can just join it. Trebuchet is fine. You prefer the Trebuchet version, or drop in the Trebuchet? Sorry, you can probably hear those fireworks. Give me 2 seconds. I'll fix that. Trebuchet is fine to drop. Yeah. So the Trebuchet version is basically just this, but dropped, and then the footpath. Like, you change this pretty significantly. Let's just put it back. Roll peg, lance, drop the Trebuchet. Yeah, I got you, bud now. Leaves you with 80 points. It's an awkward amount of points, isn't it? It's an awkward amount of points. Are there any upgrades that we're missing here? Not really. I don't think there's anything that I'm looking at and saying that's super wild. Tell you what, you could really double down on that brick and just go, here's a Sergeant-at-Arms. Because the Sergeant-at-Arms has Peasant's Duty, which is if you ever give ground, if you ever fall back in good order, you auto give ground. You never panic when levies nearby break, which is not much of a thing, but you've got some archers. And you can reroll failed panic checks as well. So I haven't played with one of these, but I like it on paper. I think it's very cute on paper. Gonna add one. Hell yeah, there we go. The man who speaks my language. Let's go. It doesn't really matter. You're just gonna go shield, Shield halberd, something like that, give you some flexibility. And then we'll bump these up to 16, so the multiples of 4, and that gets you 1990. Man, it's difficult. Is there anything that we're missing here? Is there anything that we're missing here? Do you want Wolves of the Sea defense? Oh, you're just going to lose against Wolves of the Sea. Human Guard. There's no points you can put on there. Magic resist would be pretty nice. Let's do that. Oh, Sergeant can only take 25 points of magic items. Ooh, you'd be better off putting just a wizard in there. That's not much of anything. Give him a charm shield. Give him... You know what? Potion of foolhardiness. Immune psychology, majority, so you don't even want the potion. That doesn't do anything for you. Just really struggling to get that last... You know what? It's the bravest sergeant you ever did see. Musicians and the archers. Yeah, that's a better idea than the gauntlet. Let's have a look here. Musician. Now it's uneven. That's fine. We go musician, and we drop a peasant. There we go. Beautiful. This is... yeah. Obviously, you can make minor tweaks, but at quick look. What I'll do is post that in Discord now, just so you don't have to try and read it off my screen. This is roughly what I'd go for, but Bretonnians are really good. You got loads of agency with this. Like I was saying before, you can the core just make it as you fancy, whatever you prefer. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. Thank you for posting. You could go back to a couple of units of Mountain Knights of the Realm if you go, you know what, I really fancy painting some heraldry. It's difficult to go wrong with the Exiles list, with this sort of skeleton. I think once you got the characters, the Pegasus Knights, and the guns in, everything else is kind of a little, whatever you fancy. Like, realistically, Outcast Wizards, non-optimal, but not bad. Not bad. So, Winslow, I saw you in chat earlier. In fact, not that long ago. A-Train Bodybuilding. I've been working on some competitive Wars of the Sea list. Would love to get your take on the mainly character comb. So I've got all my lists loaded up, but feel free to whack it in the Discord. I don't know if you're here. Pop in the Discord down in the chat below. There is a channel called Fix My List. Feel free to post it in there. If we do get time at the end, I will see if we can get to that one. If not, then, whack it in anyway, maybe in one of the relevant, like in the Chaos channel. And I tend to have a look at those if I can. Hey, Winslow's still here. Ginger Steve says, has everyone got gifted enabled on their YouTube account? Is it worth me walking downstairs and gifting some members? Good to see you, Ginger Steve. Generous as always. Yeah, that is a good point. So, time to do the plug. The way I'm doing these is I'm going to probably do it every 2 or 3 weeks. There's a lot of interest, so I'm prioritizing people who are channel members. But since you're here, Ginger Steve is threatening to make people channel members. So make sure in your settings you have, being able to accept channel members turned on, just in case. Okay, so we have got Beastmen. Beastmen. As I said, they're growing on me steadily. I think, especially now that I've seen the poison brick. Yeah. Also says, no idea you had to enable gifting. It is one of the settings, I believe. So, something to double check in your settings. When someone works out where it is, let us know in the chat, and I will put that up on the screen. I think it might be something that only some accounts have turned off, whether you made it at a certain time. Who can say? Good evening, Creekhammer. Good to have you. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, so we're looking at Beastmen. So this is, I remember you were saying this is less of a fix my list and more of a tweak your list. So let's just read exactly what you put. You said in here, what do I think this army will struggle into that you could tech against? You're looking for help fine-tuning it, but open to suggestions, particularly looking at lists that you can struggle into and how you can tech it. Yeah, that's super reasonable. So this is a fairly, for anyone who doesn't know, this is a good example of a Beastmen list. If you're looking to play one, this is a very good, like, solid bones. So you've got a Wargore who's got the Poison Banner, who goes in with the Ungor. You've got 2 Great Brace Shamans, both on foot, which is not something you see all of the time. Often you see one on a chariot because you can travel mystical pathways and teleport around. But in this version, I believe both of the characters are going to go in the Ungor brick. They're going to teleport around with the unit and then just shoot from there. It makes perfect sense. You've got all the mobility you want. It's such a huge footprint. Core is Razor Gores. Razor Gores are very good. And then there's 2 units of Dragon Ogres, 2 units of Harpies, and then 2 Gigantic Spawn. That's the only thing that I might tweak. You just join the Discord, have to wait 10 minutes. No worries, bud. It'll be, I've got 5 or 6 more lists queued up before I'd be able to get to anything else, so plenty of time for that. They're both starting at the list, at the least. Sometimes you move them out of it to have better line of sight, but it's matchup dependent. Yeah, that's super reasonable. Basically, this is a very sort of, I like it. It's a very sort of Swiss Army knife list. I feel like you can deal with most armies with this. You're not super worried about dragons, obviously. You've got Plague of Rust, you've got the shooting, you've got Vile Tide. God, you've got Vile Tide. So realistically, you're going to absolutely ruin dragons, which is great. Just take that out of the meta. Oh, Ginger Steve. So generous as always. I really appreciate you. Gifted 10 close order memberships. Those should pop up any second now. Oh, there we go. We've got Jacob. I'm sorry, I'm not going to butcher your last name. We've got Scholes. We've got Pete Ames. We've got Gary Dutton. That's a hell of a name. Gary, if you're listening, let me know if you're from the northeast of England, because you sound like you should be. We've got Mark. I've seen your profile picture in chat before. Corey Barnes. We've got Frederick Keel. Alexander Anderson. Trey Dudley. And Lawrence Simpson. Thank you very much. And do feel free to thank Ginger Steve for his generosity in chat, as always. You're an absolute beast. So... all right. Throws me off every time. Yeah, so we've got the list here, which is double Shaman and then the Wargore with the BSB, yada yada. What's your plan for Bretonnians? Do you have a game plan for Bretonnians? Because I don't think the Poison Brick does well into them. I guess the Vile Tide just kind of mulches them, especially Exiles, because they just have no save against it. I don't know how you deal with Royal Host. I don't think this list can deal with Royal Host. The other thing that I would say is these Gigantic Spawn really struggle in what I'm expecting the meta to move towards. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of poison shooting. So there's something that I was really hot on these, and I'm now really kind of not. I think they're still good. Random movement is very strong. The double save is very nice. It's a 5 of armor save, 5 of regen. I'm a little worried about it, honestly, now. I think if I'm writing lists, I'm probably not putting anything that doesn't have a good... Yeah, you don't know what build to take out Royal Host. That's entire. Yeah, that's super fair. That is super fair. It's difficult to overcome that, isn't it? So we can just assume that that's not a problem we have to deal with in the meantime. Hopefully before that point, we see them get rebalanced. Maybe some max unit size added in. I'd like to see like 50 or 60 added to max unit size, because then you still get to do fun things with like teleporting poison bricks, but it doesn't become a dominant strategy. It becomes part of your strategy as a list, which I think is much healthier for the game. You said it's Vile Tide and Spawn is the game plan for Bretonnians. The one list, yeah, people haven't built it yet. Yeah, you say that. There is, or said to me earlier that there's an RTT he's going to in Canada this weekend that someone's bringing the Royal Host to. So that'll be spicy. I'm looking forward to hearing how that one's going to go. So I think, for me, I like this. I like the Ruby Ring. I like the Lore Familiar. The Double Elementalism is really good. The Hag Tree Fetish as well. So that's a really good start. The Wargore, great. You could give him some defensive items. The main thing that I'd like to see in this unit is some magic resist. So let's just put that in now. I think the Spell Eater Axe is the best form of magic resist you can buy for a unit. It's really solid. It's less than 2 what are they called? Obsidian lodestones. So you get a 5-point discount there. Yeah, you lose the attacks on the Wargore, which is a bit of a shame. So maybe, in fact, instead of that, because obviously Beastmen do have good hand weapon rules, you have the cloak for Beastmen as well. Ooh, there's a cloak. Let me have a look here. Is it the Pelt of the Dark Young? Ah, okay. Yeah, I'd pay 5 points more for that. That's pretty solid, because you're putting it on the BSB. There's a mutation for MR2, but I don't know the cost for it. Double Gigantic Spawn can be very good distraction. I agree. I just think there's a lot of poison shooting in the meta at the moment, and it's something that you're going to struggle to deal with. Mark and Noble for some survivability, maybe a magic item. Yeah, no, you're 100% right, mate. It's the Pelt of the Dark Young, and it's magic resist 2 and +1 to your armor save. Anthony says, how do we send our list and what's the basis to be picked for the list fixing? Glad you asked. So there's a Discord down below. There is a channel called Pick My List. Please do come on down, put it in there, all that good stuff. And basically the way I'm doing it is channel members first. And then once I've gone through all the channel members, I will get to people who put their list in who aren't channel members on a first come, first serve basis. I'm just going to have to do it fresh each time, basically. So I'll put an announcement up when I'm doing it. I'll ping everyone on the server. You put your list in, jobs are good. And I'll get through as many as I realistically can on a Friday stream, which is normally 1.5 to 2 hours. Hey, we got a few people joining the Discord as well. If someone is focusing all the fire to take them down, the rest of the army can really swoop in fast. Wolves of the Sea, yeah, absolutely. I think that Poison Brick, one of the hardest things for it to deal with is MSU, because they have really limited interaction activations. The place this falls down is if they've got multiple battle magic casters as well, but I don't know if any armies can really do that. What spells do you think really mess up this unit? If the magic missile, it's probably fine. It doesn't help versus pillar. You basically just, like, a lot of your points are in this unit, right? So you kind of just want to protect it. I think putting an extra, spending 40 points to give it magic resist 2 is just a solid bet. Because what I'd probably do, and this is kind of personal flavor and what I am worried about coming up. Not Royal Host, but just poison shooting the meta. I think I'd probably take both of the spawn out. You may find that they work very well for you in your local meta if the events you're going to don't have a lot of poison shooting. So this is very much like a meta call. And I haven't seen a lot of poison shooting at events near me currently, but I'm expecting to. And then I think Dragon Ogres are really solid. So just another one of those. And then you've got some points for, like, chaff, basically. So is there anything else that we'd put in here? If you're paying 2 points for shield on a character that you want to live, I'd say you always go for an extra 5 points for the charm shield for that 1-up ward. It's basically 3 points for a 1-up ward. Or says I'm a gigantic spawn enjoyer. Yeah, but you live over the sea where they don't have guns, which is ironic. And not to tar Canada with the same brush. You know what, Winslow? I don't actually 100% know. Whereabouts are you based? Are you UK based? I can't remember if I asked before. Could take a Shaggoth instead of the 2 spawn and add more race score. Shaggoth does have my eye. Genuinely, I think the Shaggoth's really interesting. We'd have to change this to. So we'd have to take off the Pelt of the Dark Young because it gives the armor save. Oh no, hold on. No, you can keep that on there, can't you? US East Coast. Okay, maybe you'll be fine. Like, I know there's less shooting over in the States, from what I've been told talking to American players. Is shooting something you're worried about, or are you happy to just sort of go, I want to max my list? Honestly, not a shooting heavy option. Okay, yeah, so let's do 2 versions. I'll very quickly do the version that I probably would go with, and then we'll go back to the version that you might find better, given what you're more likely to see. So we'd go blackened plate on the Shaggoth with a great weapon. I don't think you need anything else on there, which puts you significantly over. Oh, because I put the Dragon Ogres in. Yeah. So And you said more Razor Gore. I think that's a really solid shout. Razor Gore are just very good. And then we can drop. There we go. So this would be sort of the version that I'd lean more towards. Where you go and look, you've got the protection, you've got the big Death Star unit that teleports around and shoots. And then you've still got a good amount of shooting here. You've got the 5 gore because you legally have to. And then you go Res Gore, Warhounds, Dragon Ogres, Harpies, Shaggoth. I really like the little 5 model squads of Harpies. I think that's very cute. Something else you could do as well is you could just go ambushes here and then find 5 points. I don't think you're typically going to want to set them up on ambush. I'm a famed ambush hater. But what you might want to do is get 1 less drop. I mean, probably not with this list because you're getting as many units as possible. So maybe that's just something you don't even worry about. But it also just gives you the possibility to... You can make opponents play a little more respectful with their war machines. Make them screen out and... Yeah, I think that's something that's worth considering at the low price of 5 points for a unit that you have to take. Don't mind dropping the hounds if I have 5 pigs. Yeah, that's fair. So let's drop the hounds because 5 pigs is great. 5 pigs is really good. And then do we just go up to 66? Yeah, like we're getting into the weeds with it here. So this is sort of the version of the list that I'd probably be looking at, which is the Poison Brick, which I think I'm really warming to. And then the Razor Gore, Dragon Ogres, Harpies, Shaggoth. Here's the thing. I think this list is worse into Mortuary Cult than the other version, the version that you ran or are looking at running. I'm worried about how you deal with Mortuary Cult because your Ungor are only ballistic skill 3. So they're going to teleport, which means they're going to move because have they got war bows or short bows? Short bows. Okay. Quick shot though. Yeah. So you're going to be hitting on 5s with most of the unit realistically. And if you're trying to shoot into a Bone Dragon, it's going to be -1 to hit from its dusty aura, and then also -1 to hit from the casket for the Light of Corruption. So you're not going to get the poison off, which is a little concerning to me. Might not need Warhounds because the pigs were so incredible. That's fair. Yeah, that's very reasonable. John says all the US-based players that want guns in our games play BattleTech Bolt Action 40k. Yeah. Here's the thing. If I can win a game by killing you before you get to me, that is a strategy that I very much like. Is it less fun and interactive? Yes. Is it a higher chance of winning my games? Also, yes. Didn't realize the LOP did -1 as well. Light protection. Yeah. The problem is I don't know how you overcome that. I guess you just have to be in close range, right? So if you're playing into the Bone Dragon, maybe you just have to go wider instead of going quite deep with the unit so that you can get as much in that sort of between 6.1 and 9 inches bubble. So you're not shooting at -1 and then you still get 6s to wound. I don't think it's, unplayable. It's just a canny Mortuary Cult player or Tomb Kings player in general will be able to make sure their dragon doesn't die super easily. But yeah, so this is the version I'd go with. If we just go back to the version that you had. Oops, that's the wrong sort of spawn. So we are 84 points over. Oh yeah, because we added a Razor Gore. So we're going to remove that. We're going to put the Warhounds back in for Vanguard and then just tweak the... I don't really want to cut too much here. 1, 2, 3, 4. By adding points to the characters. Yeah, you need to be super aggressive and get dispels into range for the bounce spells too. Yeah, that's a fair shout. It's a lot of how you play, not what the list is. Pork Pie says, got a UK event this weekend. How do we submit a list for desperate tweaking? Tried super chat, but it's freezing if you have a donate link. Which event are you at? Are you in the Discord? Whack it in the Fix My List, and I will do my best to get to that at the end. Even if I just have a quick look at it in Discord as opposed to putting into here, because unfortunately there is a significant amount of prep with manually putting all your lists in. I feel like the hounds can still come out with 4 pigs and 2 harpies. Yeah, you kind of just like play around with the core. I think I wouldn't make many tweaks for your meta. I think you've got a really solid list here. I think the Charmed Shield on the Wargore is a no-brainer, just because it's 3 points for a 5 up ward once per game. And then I like the Magic Resist, but you can probably get away without it. Through the Wolves of the Sea list in. Yeah, cool. I'll have a look. I'll give that at the very least like a quick once over at the end. Kingdom War Games. Oh, I don't know what that is. Kingdom War Games. Let's have a look here. North London. Okay, cool. For some reason, I've clicked on their page before. It's highlighted purple. It's Arcanus. Is that you, Pork Pie, Arcanus, in chat? Have the gym look like that? Not on the Discord, we'll jump on. Okay, no worries. Well, tell you what, bud. What you probably are best off doing, put it in whichever army channel is most relevant, and then at me. Just ping me at Edward6++, and I will have a look at that off stream and give you some thoughts on that one. Anthony, you're Arcanus. Hell yeah, good to have you, bud. I will see if I can get to that one at the end as well. Winslow says, perfect. Something to think about for how to tweak the list. We'll see how it does for next weekend. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes for you. And Marco says, what do you think about Cetra in Royal Host list? Is it enough worthy? I'm not sold. I have... He's a lot of points and he doesn't do a lot for me. That said, I think you can put him in. I just don't think he's the most efficient. Like, I'd rather have just a Lord on a Dragon, personally. But if you really like him, you can play him without handicapping yourself too much. Because he's, Tomb Kings are just really good. I would like to see insights on how... Yeah, I'll see if I can get to you at the end there, but for the MSU. And Buzzo, I will... what's probably best is if I just... I'll tell you what, let's just have a quick look at it now. Let's just see if I can do this one. So if I go... I'm a sucker for a panic. So just very quickly, this is going to be... We can go more... we can go more into depth later on if needs be. So you've got here Chaos Lord, Flail, Mark and Nurgle, Talisman, Brace and Collar, Healing. Yeah, this is a good Chaos Lord. I like the defensive option. I don't love the Flail. I would much prefer a great weapon. You've got the regen. You've got the Enchanting Aura for Strikes Last. You've got... Yeah, so you've got regen, Magic Resist, Healing Potion, Strikes Last. I don't think you need the Flail. I think Great Weapon's better. Obviously, turn 1 of combat the same. Turn 2, you'll be hitting at Strength 5. That can really suck. I won a combat about a month ago at the event that I won, where I was playing into a Chaos Lord with Flail. I won because he was winning me on 5s and I was winning him on 2s. Or 4s with my Lord. But I was rolling better, basically. Sorcerer Lord, Mark of Zinch, On Foot, Infernal Puppet, Ruby Ring. Yep, this is very standard. Both of these character setups are great. These are very solid. Forsaken, you've got Khorne here. I think Slanesh is better. I like Khorne more, personally. But if you go Slanesh, you get the Swift Strides. You can actually get into combat on your own terms more of the time. Marauder Horseman, Mark of Khorne, Flails, Light Armor, Shields. These are perfect. I would not change anything about them. I like 6 Marauder Horseman units, but that's just personal preference. It just means they can absorb a little bit of incidental firepower more than anything else. 2 units of Warhounds with Vanguard, they're just good. A single Dragon Ogre. People do run these. I don't love them, but it's not a problem. That's personal preference. This isn't bad. This is just not something that I would take personally. And then the Fire Dragon level 2 battle magic. This is spicy. I think you can do this, and it's not a problem. Chaos are in a pretty solid spot, although you haven't got as much full send as you might want. Also, where does the Sorcerer Lord go? He's a little Risky. So the quick thoughts, I think Warpfire Dragon, incredible. I might be tempted to take him as a level 0, run him alongside the Chaos Lord on Dragon. You don't have to get him into, you don't have to be super close together, but if you get them into the same combat, or if you just march him behind the unit you're trying to kill, so for example, if you're like Dragon into Dragon, you can turn off his ward save, you're probably going to win that combat pretty much every time. So that's a really strong use of him. I don't know that I'd go all the points for the battle magic, although, you know what, it gives you conditional ward and a... yeah, most of the spells in there are good. This is kind of like touch and go. I don't love the points here, and I could see this being dropped, and I am concerned that the Sorcerer Lord is just going to get melted. It doesn't have a bunker. So that's what I would look at tweaking. Bunker for the Sorcerer Lord, like be it Marauder Horse or something on foot, just to mean that it doesn't get ruined. If you in misposition, which is really easy to do with this list, you can shave points here, shave points here. Dragon Ogre's fine, Warpfire Dragon's fine. They just mostly don't fit with the way that I like to play the game. I've just tabbed back in. Or Almighty Cetra, Great King. It just keeps going, and then he says, and like 20 more messages worth. That's very good. That's very good. Marco says, you'll try a list with Cohort and Chariot Tomb Guard with Cetra and 2 Heralds. Hell yeah. I've been wondering about Tomb Guard. I think Tomb Guard are interesting at the very least. 3-2 at LGT with this. Sword Lord walks between Forsaken. Okay, interesting. If you've been playing it and you got experience with it, cool. I do like the bunker. If you can justify one for the +1 to cast, that is pretty spicy. But if you know what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about. So let's just go back to this. So we are up to Winslow. I haven't posted your list in the channel because I kind of messed around a bit and I haven't really changed much. But hit me up if you need a copy of that one. Flat World Sedge. I don't know if Flat World is here. I hope he is. But if not, no worries. So Flat World is going for Wolves of the Sea, I believe. Yeah. All good, you remember the changes. Cool, no worries. So, no, it's not Wolves of the Sea. This was general. So there's a Demon Prince, a Sorcerer Lord, Knights, Marauders, Forsaken, Warhounds, 4 Chosen, 4 Dragon Ogres, Spawn of Chaos. There were some messages for Flat World Sedges. Let's have a look here. Because there were some more narrative or personal restrictions. I know Flat World said that they didn't want to have Mark and Nurgle because it makes you feel queasy. That's super reasonable. And honestly, Nurgle is not so optimal that you have to go for it. It's great, but it's not the end of the world if you don't take it. So you say, what's in flux? The Chosen, the Third Hounds, the Cornfoot Marauders, out often. Side-eyeing a Horse Marauder bunker for the Sorcerer Lord, and they sometimes come in. You can't take Lore Familiar with Puppet on the Sorcerer Lord, but Dark Magic without Battle Magic and Word of Pain is very sad. That's true. The Sorcerer Lord keeps dying, so maybe suck it up and back to a Marauder Horse bunker. Noble Ruby Ring. You like that? So here's something that I think is actually really spicy, and I quite like it. There's there's a Flail Corn Marauder unit to Steed of Shadows, which is funny and cute, and I actually kind of like. I think that's pretty interesting. So they should stay in this list because they are very fun. So we'll start off with the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince has Fly, Marcus Slanesh, level 4. I think you went Battle Magic. Let me just double check on here. No, Demonology. Of course you went Demonology because you were looking for... Yeah. So this is kind of like an MSU turbocharge list, which is interesting. You got Biting Blade, Armor of Meteoric Iron, Brazen Collar, Spell Familiar, Favor of the Gods. It's good. It's good. You know what makes it more gooder? I think we change to the Dagger of the Dark Pantheon. That's not locked, is it? Yeah. So it's basically a Biting Blade, but without the Armor Bane. But you get to roll, +1 to cast on your next cast after you do wounds. And that, so if you do wounds, you can then use your Demonology, Demonic Familiars, which is a pretty decent assailment spell, honestly. 2d6 strength, 2 hits with no armor save is pretty spicy into some armies. And it really helps, I think, with the Demon Prince. One of the things he's going to struggle with is combat res and just dealing with large units. That's probably going to be the biggest problem if you get tied down. And also, just sometimes you're going to spike 6s into a dragon and be like, oh, Dragon Lord, take 3 wounds, please. Oh, you've got a 5-up ward? Oh, I get 2 of them through. Hell yeah, now we're winning. And this leaves you still below the 100-point maximum. So, Demonology, Spell Familiar, Dagger of the Dark Pantheon. It's Biting Blade, but just a little bit better. Cool. So, Mark of Slaanesh. This is, I'm assuming, to do with Paint Scheme. I would go Mark of Tzeentch, but, you know, we can sort of tweak from there. I'm going to leave... no, Demonology has a terrible spell, right? No, it doesn't. It's... Okay, yeah, okay. I don't hate the Mark of Slaanesh because you can just take the summoning instead of the blue fires. That's pretty okay. So let's go Demonology, Mark of Slaanesh, level 4. You've got your 5-up, 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 4-up, 5-up, 5-up armor save that can't be changed from the armor, 4-up ward, and then a 5-up regen, which is really nice. You've got Demonology to turbocharge yourself, so you're going to be 6 attacks at strength 7, AP 3, which is really good. And so on and so forth. Okay. Sorcerer Lord is good. I like the Sorcerer Lord. Infernal Puppet, Spell Familiar, Favor of the Gods. This is just good. As you said, you can't put the Lore Familiar on there, which is a bit of a downside. Obviously, you are going to be sad if you don't roll the spells that you want. I think it might be better to just go Battle Magic, but play around with it. I think Dark Magic is very fun, and being able to turbocharge something is definitely choice. Hey, there you are. Can drop Conga Line, the Skirmishing Marauders behind things to crowdsource them off the board if they fall back. That's very true. Yeah, like that's a spicy unit. This is the sort of thing that people need to get better at doing. It's a non-linear play pattern that you've basically discovered. You've gone, okay, what if I just had a really small unit, yeeted them up the board, and I just did something with them? I really like that. They hit surprisingly hard. The downside is, as you say, yes, they can conga line behind, but since they're skirmishing, they're probably going to have to charge something. But they've got some flexibility to them, so I like them. They're definitely staying in for my money. 8 Marauders, here to slap. I'm a big fan of that. The Chaos Knights, Khorne, Lancers, all of that stuff, that's just good. Forsaken, 8s, I really like those. Forsaken and Slaanesh, and then Warhounds. I'm just going to drop one of those for now. We can put them back in later if we need to, but you probably don't need a 3rd unit, and you're already over your core allocation, so we don't need to go super heavy on those. Then we've got the Khorne Spawn. This is, I'm assuming, something you're putting in for personal preference. I know you said you don't like Nurgle, and this is probably something that you're like, I want to play this model. I'm assuming it's not bad. I feel like it's going to get shot off most of the time. But again, I'm looking at that from a UK perspective. Could go either way. Although I think from memory you were, or maybe Australia-based, so I don't know what the meta is like in Australia. Dragon Ogres. I think 4 is spicy, but also maybe a bit big. And I think the Chosen being 4 is not spicy enough. So if anything, we're going like this. We're going up to 6 Chosen. You probably want to go for the standard. This is like the Death Star unit. You don't necessarily have to take anything here. You're just going for the units. You've given them Mark of Slaanesh, which is fine. It gives them +1 initiative. I don't know that they need the initiative, honestly. I don't think you get anything else, is there? You automatically pass Panic. That's not bad. And they're probably painted pink or Slaanesh themed, especially because you've got, you mentioned your Marauders were Witch Elf like. So I would say, for my money, this is not far off. I think a lot of the stuff that you've got is very good. Yeah, I will get to the High Elf MSU at the end, buddy. Don't worry about that. I know it's late for you, so in fact, I'll quickly whiz through it after this one. You're in Discord, I did see, yeah. Yeah, no, I like this list. I think if we're sticking to the theme, all I've done really is make some efficiency tweaks without changing the list too much. So the Demon Prince now is the Dagger of the Dark Pantheon to make the casting better, because you really want to get the spells off that you are going for. Sorcerer Lord, exactly the same. It's just fine. MSU stuff here is great. And then we've basically tweaked the special. So going 6 Chosen Knights, 3 Dragon Ogres, Gigantic Spawn, and puts us 19 points over. So I think we just have to go, it's unfortunate, but we go 1-8-1-7 with the Forsaken, or some other tweak to your core you can do. Don't worry about it, Anthony. You did mention that it was late for you, so March is Slanesh to match or beat High Elf Swords Masters on the charge. That's fair. I personally, like, people keep talking about Sword Masters as if they're a problem. I have never seen them be a problem. And that's not a criticism of people's opinion. It's just I have not experienced Sword Masters doing their thing yet. High Elf rules coming out in the next 3 months or so, though. So hopefully I will, because they're awesome models, and I really want to play some High Elves. Sorry, I want to play some elves that aren't just playing a dragon or poison shooting. The model and some fluff, but not wedded. Yeah, no, I think this is fine. Like, this is pretty good. It's if we're talking about like on a scale of 1 to 10 competitive. You haven't got a dragon, so I think you lose some points there, because I think you really want to lean into a dragon unless you're in Wolves of the Sea. But other than that, I think you're like a solid like 7.5. Like the Gigantic Spawn of Chaos, I'd probably tweak a little bit as well, but I don't think there's anything in here that's actively bad. How thematic can we go? You can go as thematic as you want. Like, I'm super happy to build within restrictions. You've just got to accept that it's not necessarily going to be the most competitive list. I will just make it the most competitive I can within the boundaries of what you're going for. So we'll have a very quick look at Anthony's list, just on the basis of I know it's late for you, and we'll tweak. So probably won't get super into depth with this one. Let's just go. All right, so MSU, you've got an Archmage level 4, High Magic, Silver 1, Cedar Rebirth Talisman. This is a foot model. I don't think you need the talisman, right? I think that's efficiency that we can cut. Like, you just get rid of this talisman. Noble, who is a BSB, Armor of Calidor, Great Weapon Bow of Avalon. Yeah, you probably don't need the bow in here unless you're in a... Oh, no, hold on. This is a very cheap upgrade. Yeah, that's fine. I was thinking it was the magic item, but it's not. Pure Heart on both of these is obviously just objectively correct. Then you've got Core, you've got Illyrian Reavers with short bows, 2 units of those with Scouts. These are good. They're like Dark Riders, a little bit worse, but not too awful. Holy shit, Matthew's about to drop off to propose to someone. Hell yeah. Congratulations. I hope that goes well for you. Obviously, I'm sure it will. When a proposal comes around, you should both be on the same page, as I'm sure you are. But congrats. Go and spend some time with the more important things in your life. Good luck, and I hope that goes well for you. Cool, yeah. So we've also got in the core 10 archers. Archers are good. I might be tempted to go 2 5s, just because they're a little bit more annoying for your opponent to deal with. And then the Loth and Seaguard. 16's a bit low. I would probably go a little bit bulkier. If you want to run Seaguard, I'd probably run them as a bigger brick. Into special, we've got Dragon Princes, Swordmasters, White Lions. Okay, you are MSU. Great Eagle, Sisters. Interesting. Where does the BSB go? I'm assuming the Loth and Seaguard. Okay. I think if you want to commit one of either ways, you either go more MSU and you say 16 Seaguard doesn't do it for me. I'm going to just go with like more Reavers or something like that. And then you go more MSU. Yeah. I think this is really interesting. It's so many small units, it's going to be difficult for your opponents to deal with. I'm a little concerned about the Dragon Princes. They're going to be so far outside of range of everyone else. But you can move block them with the Eagles, potentially. You've got the Sisters. I think I'd like to see all of the shooting here the archers and the sea guard become more MSU, maybe like units of 8 or something like that. Just cheap shooting to get as much as possible. Maybe some more Illyrian Reavers, although I think you can only take 2 units of scouts. John says the BSB even needed an MSU elves. I think it's good because you have to position it well, but you're going to be taking a lot of panic checks potentially, because as soon as you lose a couple of models, and you will lose a couple of models because you're playing elves, I think you probably want to lean on that. The Archmage having high magic, I think you could, the other way you could go pure MSU and then also have a big unit of Loth and Seaguard that you also make ethereal with the Archmage, and then we go, you probably want to go for a Razor Standard in there if you go for a big unit, but that takes it in a pretty different direction. Let's have a look here. I think, yeah, perfect. Was there anyone else who posted in chat? You know what? I'm not normally going to pick up ones in Discord. These were a little bit of a special case, but because I've done 2 out of the 3, I'm going to pick this one up, and then this will be the last one. I'm just going to go through the rest of the lists to be fair to everyone else. So A-Train, the Northrenders, 100. The 1999, that's very satisfying. So you've got a DP, Mark and Nurgle, Demonic Plate Mail for the T6, Giant Blade. I'm not a lover of Giant Blade. Yeah, I do not like Giant Blade. Brazen Collar, Extra Arm. I think if you're going this hard into a melee character, just give him the Ogre Blade. Like, yes, you have to find 35 points more, but I don't see a reason not to, honestly. I think that would be where I'd go. Golrok is a model that I don't particularly love, but I don't mind in Wolves of the Sea, because level 4 Dispel, and then sometimes you roll into the good dark magic stuff. What else have we got here? So we got Berserks with flails and throwing axes. I think the throwing axes are surplus to requirements, but I also don't hate them because of how cheap they are. Horsemen with light armor, javelin, shields, and flails. Yeah, so I think you could drop all of the shooting, all of the throwing axes, all of the javelins you could drop, and then that might let you squeeze another unit of Berserks in, right? 20... Yeah, you're not far off another 5 Marauder Berserkers, so that might be the way that I go. Then you've got 4 Skin Wolves with a champion. I would drop the champion here. The only thing that's going to happen is that this model is going to get challenged out, which means that if you're fighting into a dragon or like something big, you lose. I think having on monstrous infantry like this, you never want to have the champion realistically. The DP has fly, so he can't even join the unit, so that doesn't make a difference there. Yeah, I dropped the Jarl there. It doesn't give you all that much. The Chaos Warriors with halberds, Mark of Khorne, Helm of Many Eyes for the strikes first. That's spicy. That is spicy. I'm a big fan of this sort of like 100-point commitment to make sure that you almost always win that turn 1 roll off. So yeah, this is good. Do I like halberd the most? Yeah, I think halberd's fine, because you can always go hand weapon shield if you feel like you need the armor save, and then you've got double spawn of chaos with Nurgle. This is again meta dependent. I'm worried about poison shooting, but in general, I think they're super reliable. I think these gigantic spawn and Nurgle are pretty good. I played against them with Wood Elves, and it's a low shooting Wood Elf list, but I only killed 1 of them, and it wasn't super easy for me to do. Then again, I do need to put more shooting in my Wood Elf list. I have a dearth of bows. John says, how does the Sword of Battle compare to the Ogre Blade? Poorly. To the point where I can't actually remember what the Sword of Battle does. Is it like +1 strength, attack, and AP, and maybe Armor Bane 1? I feel like that could be it. Let's go back to the actual screen, because we're an hour 20 in and I've durdled a little. Sword of Battle. It is strength +1, AP -1, Armor Bane 1, extra attacks 1. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Armor AP 1 is just not enough in my eyes, and it's 60 points. Whereas the Ogre Blade is strength +2, AP 2, Armor Bane the same. You don't get an extra attack, but you get D3 damage. That's just a huge upgrade in my eyes. The one that I'm a little annoyed about is the 55.1 that gives you extra attacks 2. I think it's like strength user, AP 1, extra attacks 2, something like that. Great weapon and lance is just much cheaper. Yeah, that's true. Open and mixing up the characters on this list a lot. Yeah, I think if you're running a Demon Prince, I think there's not a lot of point to not going for a level 4. It is a lot of points, and it's you might struggle to fit that and Galrock in, but I think you can do both. I really like the flexibility of like a Demonology or Dark Magic caster on a Demon Prince, because you want something to buff with those models, and you can always buff yourself, which is a solid plan. But yeah, like the rest, like the characters, I don't hate, and you might want to tweak a little. The rest of it I think is fantastic. I think the Berserks are great. I really like them. The only thing I don't like about them is that you've only got 4 units. Go big or go home, baby. Marauder Horsemen are just fantastic. The only thing I don't like about them is their T3. So they are harder to keep alive compared to the Berserks. Skin Wolves are great. Drop the Isle. Chaos Warriors are good. And then Tunes are Spawn. Can go Caster on DP, swap Golrock out, even go Double Dragon. Yeah, all of those are super solid choices. I've only played around with Wolves a little bit. I'm trying to make Heralds work because my brain went, but that's bad. Play it. But yeah, cool. All right, so we're going to move on to Darken Avatar's Ogres. So I could be wrong. Darken Avatar, who I believe is Garrett Anderson on YouTube. There was a chap at Lewis's event not too long ago who was playing a near identical list. I don't think it's you from the profile picture, but do let me know if you are the chap who was at Lewis's event quite recently. Was it last weekend? I think it was last weekend. So the list is Tyrant, who is the general, Great Weapon, Ogre Pistol, Ogre Blade, Talisman of Protection. He did say in Discord that the reason that we've got the Great Weapon on there is for the High Elf matchup, just in case they, remove his magic weapon. I'm not super concerned about that, but if you've got 5 points to spare, I guess that's not a bad place to spend them. Slaughtermaster with the Tenderizer level 4, Lore Familiar, More Seeker. More Seeker gives you Stupidity, which is no es buenos. I do not like that at all. Bruiser, Great Weapon, Armor of Meteoric Iron for that 5-up armor save that can't be reduced, and then the Dragonhide Banner as well. Dragonhide Banner gives you reroll 1s to hit and flaming attacks, and I know you were saying that you were not sure about this, or if you should go for the Rune Maw. The Rune Maw is very good. Basically, if you cast a spell on this unit, the controlling player rolls a 3-up. If you roll that 3-up, they have to target something else, which is very strong. It's really hard for opposing casters to deal with it when you're playing a Death Star, because that's what it is. There's Iron Guts, which is, Cannibal Totem for the 5-up regen, but you pursue less. Lookout Gnoblar, full command there. 4 Ogre Bulls, because you have to have some. Mournfang Cav with the Bull Standard. The Bull Standard gives you reroll impact hits. I don't think it's number, I think it's the wounds, yeah. And they've got great weapons and heavy armors, as you'd expect. Impact hits D3, which is pretty decent. And then we've got double Yetis. So the general... She said yes! Congratulations! Now get off YouTube. It's way more important that you're spending time together. We'll be back to listen later. Cool. Great choice. You typed that before I said anything. You didn't need me to butt in. Have a good time. Hope everything... I hope you have a great day. All right. People keep distracting me with just lovely things. What a great evening I'm having. Okay, so Dark Avatar, the list design is it's a Death Star. So you've got 8 Iron Guts, you've got the Tyrant, the Slaughtermaster, and the Bruiser all going in the same unit, I believe. Then you've got the Mournfang Cavalry as a drop, you've got the Ogre Bulls as a drop, and you've got the 2 units of Yetis, which are Scouts. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 drop army, which is pretty low. Pretty low. Let's make some changes. Ogre Pistol. I don't see much use for it. You can stand and shoot and potentially get +1 combat res. That's fine. I don't love it. I'm going to take off the great weapon as well because I'm not worried about it. But, you know, if you find that that's an issue, feel free to put it back. Ogre Bulls, if you're taking them, Iron Fists. I think you may as well try and get something out of them instead of just treating them as a pure waste of your time. We can maybe get 3. See, that does make the points a little awkward, though. Does make the points a little awkward. Is there anything we can drop here? We'll come back to that. I do think Iron Fists are really good on them, giving you the +1 to your save and additional attack. You lose the... oh no, you've got Armor Bane 1. Yeah, I just think they're solid, like, for what they are. Obviously, a waste of your time, but you have to take the balls, so I think you may as well treat them a little better. Mournfang, this is fine. I like a musician in general, because they're a cavalry unit, so you might end up running away. And then we've got the Yetis, and you've got the Iron Gut Star. Here's the big bone of contention for me. I do not like illusion. That was for countercharge. What was for countercharge? I've missed whatever that was. So I don't like illusion. I don't think this is the correct way to run it. If you've got someone charging the Death Star, right, the Tyrant with Ogre Blade should probably win that combat. I don't think you need another unreliable caster. So I think all of this changes. I really don't like Moorseeker here. I really don't like the Tenderizer. Like, I understand it's kind of like, if you charge me, I'll do some damage. But if you charge a dragon into the Slaughtermaster, it's what, 4 wounds? Okay, 5 wounds at T5 because of Moorseeker with no defenses. That should probably die to a dragon, right? Because the dragon's going to hit you on 3s, wound you on 2s, and then you just take wounds. So that's, 5? That's about 3 wounds. And then whatever's on top can probably do 2 wounds to you. I think realistically, if you're charged and you challenge out like a Lord on Dragon, you should probably just die. You don't have the defenses to take that challenge, which means the whole Tenderizer plan is cute, but not exciting, because the Tenderizer is strikes last, isn't it? Yeah, extra attacks +1, multiple wounds D3, strikes last, strength +2, AP3. Like, I understand what you're going for here. I think if we're making the Gut Star better, the way you do it is you go Battle Magic. You keep the Lore Familiar, which is on here. You probably want to go Ruby Ring of Ruin. And I understand that you're not going to be using it all that often. However, there are going to be games where you just can't charge anything. So you're better off just trying to pick up points. Because you're going to give up points, right? You're going to give up, theoretically, the Bulls every game. And depending on how you play them, you might give up the Yetis. So you need to pick up some points to make sure you don't lose the games into the fast armies. The way you can do it is go Pillar, Fireball, Fireball. And you also have way more flexibility with this unit because you're going to Arcane Urgency and you're going to have a 5-up ward from Oaken Shield. I think just having... It's not anywhere as sexy, but having the Battle Magic caster is just way better for the Death Star to actually function in game. That's my personal opinion. If you want to play Big Hammer Smash, and that is key for how you enjoy playing this list, you go wild. That is super fun. This is like me min-maxing the Death Star, but I understand the appeal of the Illusion caster. I've played it once now, and it was a hell of a drug. But if we're min-maxing it, let's assume that we're going for the level 4 Lore Familiar Ruby Ring of Ruin. Also, we've got some points remaining. The thing that would really suck is if you lost this model. So let's go Spangle Shard as well. Spangle Shard is a 4-up ward, but if you ever roll a 1 on the ward save, you lose the ward save entirely, which is not great for something like... It's not terrible. It's not great for something like a Tyrant on a Stonehorn, because your opponent can just pepper you with the sort of low-value shots, hope that you roll a 1 on one of the like bow shots that maybe gets through if they've got enough poison shooting or something like that. And then put all the cannons into you, because I don't think there's any armies that have cannons and poison shooting. But you get what I'm saying. You just hit them with the stuff that you don't care about first, make them roll the ward saves. Oh, I rolled a 1, I lose it. Now I hit you with the bombard. Something along those lines. So yeah, I think this is a pretty solid way of doing things. I also, if we're going here, I really like Death Cheater. I think Ogre players should run Death Cheater in every list. You can only take it once, so you're only going to have it once. But just being immune to Killing Blow, or like pseudo-immune to Killing Blow, because your opponent's probably only going to roll a single 6, you hope, and then you say, oh, re-roll that wound. I think that's really good. So this puts us at 1982, so we're fine. We're doing okay. And that would be... Is there anything else that we want to put in here? Is there anything... I don't think there's anything for 5 points that we can put on here. Does the Bruiser get anything for 15 points? You've got an Armor of Meteoric Iron, got a great weapon, you've got the Dragonhide banner. I think this is fine. I think normally I'd say don't bother, but I think you really want to scare whatever comes in. And having that reliability, re-rolling the ones, it gives you something on that Tyrant, because you really want to, you know, min-max it as much as possible, right? Big name, I don't think there are any other big names. Oh, actually, I don't hate... Is it too late to offer a list for review? It is this week. I'm going to be doing these every 2 to 3 weeks. Make sure in the Discord, I'll put an announcement up, ideally 24 hours or so beforehand. And the way that I do it is I go through members who haven't been reviewed in the last 2 weeks, members who, channel viewers who haven't been reviewed in the last 2 weeks worth of videos, and then back onto members who have, and you know, so on and so forth. But yeah, I think this is pretty close to that. We can put the Great Weapon and the Ogre Pistol back in, because I'm kind of struggling on what to do for the last few points. And if we're doing that, let's just put the second Ogre Pistol in. There might be something better to do with the last 15 points, but I don't think I can look at this list and tweak it much more. Ogres have kind of a limited pool of things that you can do to them, because they're so points expensive, they're points dense. It's hard to make little tweaks. Maybe musicians on the Ogre Bulls would be better. Yeah, something along those lines. But I think this is pretty solid. I like that loadout. Well. What have we got here? That's right, it's Skaven. We're here for Skaven. So this is an interesting one. We have got a Plague Monk Brick, and this is a list that I have played against this week, actually. In my Game 3 S-Bot list, I played against Anubis' list, and this is a version of. So, we've got the Warlord, who's got Talisman of Protection, Ogre Blade. This is fine. I wouldn't normally love this on a Warlord. Your stat line's not super interesting. You're at Initiative 7, which is very nice. Weapon Skill 6, which is not amazing. Strength 4, Attacks 4, which is not amazing. However, you do have a Demonology Greyseer. So, the Demonology Greyseer is going to get you up to a 5th attack. You're going to be Strength 7, all of that good stuff. So if you do end up in combat, which you really want to with this list, he is going to hit pretty hard. There is an argument to be made that maybe the Fellblade is better, or at least funnier. It's you'd be Strength 7 becoming Strength 8, so you'd wound dragons on 2s, and then your multiple wounds D3, and your opponent doesn't get armor ward or regen saves. So you can really scare a dragon. Whereas the Ogre Blade doesn't scare a dragon as much because they've got so many saves. You can just say, all right, come at me, bro. I'm going to hit you real hard. It's a little spicy, I think, going that way, but it's something that you can do. We've got the aforementioned Greyseer, Spelliterax, Demonology. So I really like how this list is constructed. There is one issue on this character, which is the Skaven Brew. You can't have Skaven Brew on these sorts of characters. It's Warlords and Chieftains only, so we're going to take it off here. But like as we get through, you're going to see loads of things and go, oh, these are objectively good choices. This is like an efficiently built list, which I really enjoy. So we can just move this over. How many points does this have? Yeah, we're just going to go a second Skaven Brew on the Chieftain, because there's nothing saying you can't have 2 on 1 character, and that still gets the 2 in the list that Garrison wanted. Dwarfhide Banner, which gives Stubborn. This is fine. It's fine. That's all I have to say on it. I might be more tempted to go for something like Grand Banner of Superiority, or even if you're worried about flyers, Storm Banner. But Stubborn's okay. It's fine, and gives you Hatred Dwarves. Maybe Dwarves are a large part of Garrison's local meta, at which point this is probably pretty incredible. There's also double Skaven Brew. For those of you who are unaware, Skaven Brew gives you, I think it's Frenzy, isn't it? Until the end of turn. So basically, what this is for is if you lose combat, it allows you to reapply Skaven. Yeah, gives you Frenzy until the next start of turn sub-phase. If you lose combat, you lose Frenzy. If you lose Frenzy, you're going to lose the game. With this, you get your Frenzy back. I think that's pretty important. Then we've got the Plague Priest with the Shadow Magnet, which is -1 to be shot at with Ballistic Skill Shooting. And Plague Sensor, it's not a caster, it's just a cheap caddy. You have to have one to unlock the big Brick of Plague Monks. Core, we've got 2 units of 11 Giant Rats with a Master Molder. This is, I think, the best loadout you can get for Giant Rats. It's a multiple of 4, so you're less likely to panic or give up points at the end of the game, which is really big with Skaven. You also have a Packmaster upgraded to Master Molder, so you're leadership 7, which is really solid. I like this. This is fantastic. 2 Clan Rats with Rattling Guns and Claw Leaders only. I am not 100% sure why the Claw Leaders are in there. I guess it lets you challenge out. If you're charged by a dragon, it might buy you an extra turn that they're tied up. It's not going to. The problem is it's not going to buy you 2 turns. So best case scenario, you give ground or fall back in good order after you lose a combat. They follow up. They then kill you on your turn. They then redirect and get to face the direction they want. So I actually don't love a Claw Leader here. I don't think it's good, but maybe there's another reason for it. I think you do get better. Yeah, you get better leadership. Okay, that's fine. Just don't challenge. That's okay. It gets you up to leadership 8. That rat bastard. I prefer Fellblade to Ogre Blade because dragons survive the Ogre Blade, are scared of Fellblades, and the talisman doesn't seem great on a 3-wound character. Just don't roll 1s and 2s. That's very fair. That is something I agree with. Anubis also plays with the Fellblade. He said, just mathematically, you're unlikely to die before the end of the game to yourself. It can happen, but you're unlikely to. Then Rat Swarms. Rat Swarms are just really good. They are a swarm. They're a skirmish. They're just wounds dense. 5 wounds, T2, doesn't matter. They're a swarm. They're immune psychology. You can shoot over them with rattling guns. It's just good. I like them. Then we've got a unit of 12 and a unit of 8 Gutter Runners with slings and poison attacks. These are good. The tweak I might make is try and get 3 units of 8. But, you know, that's just because I think Gutter Runners are really good. Then we've got the Plague Monks. So, they're full command. Good stuff. You do not want to lose combat with this unit. Banner of Verminous Scurrying, giving them Swift Stride. They don't have additional hand weapons. I think we just have to fix that, unfortunately. They do have to have those additional hand weapons. So, the tweaks I would make, unfortunately, you just have to drop some models. So if we go to here, you got 47 and you dropped 4 Gutter Runners, which is I'm sad about. But you still have the additional hand weapon. The reason the additional hand weapon is really important is because the way this unit works is you stack all the layered buffs on them. So they are strength 3 base, which is terrible. And they have hand weapons, which is terrible. They don't have warpstone weapons, so they get no AP, and they wouldn't get it for their additional hand weapon anyway. They've got 1 attack. They've got 2 attacks for frenzy. They've got 3 attacks for additional hand weapons. Then you hit them with the Grey Seer's Demonology spell, which is number 4, Demonic Vessel, and it gives them +1 strength, attacks, and AP. Suddenly, each model has 4 attacks at strength 4, AP 1, which is pretty okay. It's weighted numbers. And obviously you've got the Plague Priest in here who's got 5 attacks now because of Frenzy at strength 7 with the Plague Sensor Bearer, and AP 2, which is very nice. You've got the Skaven Warlord who is strength 7, AP 3 with the Ogre Blade. You've got the Chieftain who is strength 6, AP 2 with the Halberd. A lot of really good stuff here. You just layer the attacks in. And then you can do Shenanigans, which is Scurry Away. Nope, which is Verminous Valor. There we go. Basically, if you're not engaged in a challenge, you can retire at any time. At any time. So, And this feels a little gamey, but you're playing Skaven. So, A, it's on theme, and B, you need all the help you can get. What they're going to do is you can make your attacks at high initiative, and then you can retire to the back. And as far as I'm aware, and I haven't played this list, so I'm not actually sure, but as far as I'm aware, characters just go forwards. Non-character models fill the gaps. So you retire, and then you get to make Plague Monk attacks afterwards with your lower initiative. Someone fact check me on that one, because I'm not 100% on it, but I think that's how it works. But yeah, I haven't made many changes. I think for me, we take this out, we go Fellblade. I think it's just better. It's just better. And yes, your lower strength. Your higher strength, aren't you? Your strength 7 becoming strength 8. Yeah, you can really terrify a dragon. I think this is better. Yes, there is a world where you die to yourself, and that's sad. But it's also very Skaven. So, what are you going to do? And then we just need to cut one more Plague Monk to get below the points. And yeah, I think this is about as close as we're going to get on this one. You can maybe cut the Skaven Brew and put in some more Plague Monks. In fact, you know what? I don't think you need 2 Skaven Brew. I think having 1 is nice. If you can't split them between characters where you're risking, a character getting sniped out, I think I just prefer to go a couple more models on here. Then you're 6 points short. I don't think there's anything for 6 points you could put in. I guess you just go a musician on one of these for filling up the points, right? Cool. So this is the list for Garrison, and I like it. It's very close to Anubis's list. I don't know if he took inspiration, but that is... I think it's Garrison. I've just not put your name correctly. I'm sorry. I've been saying your name wrong for the last 20 minutes. Okay. We have Skavened. We have done the rat things. We've got 2 more lists here. And the first one is a Wolves of the Sea list. Obviously, we've just looked at the Wolves of the Sea. I think the list that we just looked at for Wolves of the Sea is something that this list could take a lot of notes out of. So we don't have to go super in depth here because we've kind of covered a chunk of it already. But starting off with the Dragon Prince, the Demon Prince. This is something I prefer. This is a really nice setup. So you got a level 4. I don't know. I think it was Demonology. Ogre Blade, Favor of the Gods, Law Familiar, and then Enchanting Aura. Strikes last. You get up to 6 attacks with your Demonology caster. Putting Demonic Vessel on yourself or Vigor. You're going to be Strength 9, so you're going to wound everything in the game on 3s. Chaos Dwarves can do shenanigans. You're realistically going to wound everything in the game on 2, sorry. You're picking your spells. This is just a really solid setup. Mark and Ogle's good. Demonology, you can take the Magic Missile, which is fine, or you can take the Toughness spell, which is also fine. Both of those are just fine. And you go in and you really hit hard. The Exalted Sorcerer, level 2 Zinch, Demonic Mount, Battle Magic, Infernal Puppet. This is something that I've seen people running. I do not have strong opinions on it because it's a very expensive caddy for putting the Infernal Puppet in the list. But it's also Infernal Puppet, which is maybe the best magic item in the game. It's very, very strong. So, yeah, this is probably good. But I would want to play with it before I decide either way. Which means, at worst, it's fine. I think your character selection is really good. Let me just double check that you actually did go Demonology, because there was a world that you went Dark Magic. Super Sneaky Whale. I'm actually not sure where your list was in Discord. It's the Combat Wombat. Hell yeah, I don't know why I wrote Super Sneaky Whale. It looks like you have 2 names. But yes, so hopefully you're still here, Combat Wombat. Hey, that's you. Perfect timing. I came to that realization at the same time as you posting. Good stuff. Yeah, Demonology, I like it. I think your character loadout is fantastic. I really like this Demon Prince. He is an absolute horror to deal with. The Exalted Sorcerer, the Infernal Puppet is, like I said, I'm on the fence about it, but that's, I think, more personal playstyle. Feels like a lot of points for me to commit, but you've also got a level 2 caster who might roll some good spells, but we'll see. You've got Blue Fire Scene, so like default, you're fine. You just change your name. That makes sense. That makes sense. Core units. You've gone 10-10 on the Berserkers. You've gone 9 for a bunker and then 5-5 for Khorne. I like these, the 5s. I like the 9 for the bunker. I wouldn't mind shields on these, but I don't know if I mentioned that before. I like shields on my Marauder Horsemen just to give them that little bit of staying power. It's really not the end of the world. It's just, personal preference there. I haven't played with the 10s, and I'm curious to see how they play. Have you got much like game experience with the 10s? Because my gut feel is to play 5s, because you're not going to ever worry about panic because of the frenzy. So maybe 10s are kind of surplus to requirements. Maybe 5s would be better. But I also probably wouldn't take the champion, or maybe you take 1 actually, because you need to win the combat. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that for Walls of the Sea. Adrian says the counter to Tomb Kings, which is why you're trying to put it in the debate to put it in the list. That's fair. That's fair. It is just a very good item. Okay. Special units. Skin Walls, 5. 4 or 5? I don't care. These are fantastic. I love them. I feel like Walls of the Sea you're taking because of Skin Walls, so I like to see them here. Huskals are okay. I'm not super in love with the Slaanesh on them, honestly. They're basically just more expensive. Yeah, they're basically just more expensive Marauder Horsemen, right? Do they have any stats that are better? T4 is good. Furious Charge cancels out for Market Khorne. Yeah, they've got drilled. Yeah. Or they can get drilled. You have the Huskals for the challenge. Okay, if you're doing that, do you just go Market Khorne then to give them an additional attack? I know Slaanesh gives you +1 initiative, but you've got a base initiative of 3. Oh, they've got counter charge. Oh, that's true. Yeah, counter charge is fine. I'd be worried about them being shot off the board because they only have a 4-up save, right? Light armor, shield, and barding. Oh, they don't even have barding. They have a 5-up save. I like Huskals theoretically. I don't see a huge point to them in play. I think if I'm looking at your list, what I want to do with it is I want to go way more MSU. That's the thing for me. I think Berserks, I go to 2 units of, or 4 units of 5. And then we've got Horseman. This is fine. You can skim some points here on the Marauder Horseman if you want to go like another unit Berserk or something. But 9 is also super fine for your bunker. Skin Wolves and Huskals, I'm probably... Huskals are fine, but I think I'd go Mark of Khorne. That's the... just to get that extra attack, I think that's really solid. Oh yeah, they do have heavy armor, of course. Yeah, so it gets them up to that sweet 4-up save. Yeah, so I think that's fine. And then the Dragon Ogres. Dragon Ogres are really good. I'd love to get a 3rd unit in. So the thing that I wonder if you could do is, what if we did this? You go for a 3rd unit. You delete them. You go MSU here. And obviously, the person whose opinion is most important is yours. So if you don't like the change I'm making, if you want to stick more with the sort of list style that you're going for, please do. Like, that's super reasonable. Yeah, here we go. 8 points missing. God damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there anything that we're missing? Oh, yeah. I'd always put musicians on my horsemen if I could. 3 points missing. So, specifically not the Market Khorne ones, the ones for a bunker, because you're probably going to run away at some point, and having a reroll there is really nice. 3 points missing. Let's just give 1 unit. Like, this is... I'm kind of just filling points here, so you can tweak as you like. But 1 unit ambushes gives you a bit of flexibility. Sure. Khorne was your first thought, and then you changed them. Yeah, I think Khorne's better. If you're going for like a combat unit that's purely there to give you the turn 1, getting that extra attack, because remember, you don't get Furious Charge. So you're effectively... Honestly, let's put a Sergeant in here. Let's get rid of the Sergeant in here. And get rid of ambushes, right? 4 points missing. All right, we'll keep that. just in case. Like, so now you've got 2 sergeants to deal with, but outside of the T4 and the save, this Marauder Horseman is like, he hits exactly as hard with the Mark of Corn. You're still getting 3 attacks because you don't get Furious Charge in the first round of combat. Yeah, I think that's about it. 7 points over. What have I done that for? Oh, this is going to be so hard to tweak as well. Is there anything we can do here? Yeah, Chaos Seed. You don't need a Demonic Mount. That frees up some points. And then you've got 12 points remaining. So, for the sake of it, let's just put Musicians on just to help you rally. Those last few points you can kind of tweak as you like. You do have Ambush on both the horses. That's true. Yeah, cool. I think something like that is good. Like, so, like, just a recap. HQ slots, really good. Really like what you've got going here. I think that's very solid. And then we've got Berserks, Horsemen. That's all good. Skinwalls, and then triple Dragon Ogres. That's a real issue for people to deal with, because you're going to go like just march 14 inches with all 3 of these units. You're going to Demonology fly this unit at 1,000,000 miles, 24 inches. Everything here is going to full send, and you're going first as well most of the time, right? It's pretty. This is like a full pressure list. I think this is a good version of. Again, as I said before, if you'd rather play around with the bigger units of Berserks, I don't know that that's worse. This is gut feel. But if you do play with some games as bigger units, let me know. I'd love to see. Because there's only so many hours in the day, and I can only play so many games, unfortunately. So, that is your list there. Ryan says, I feel once Tomb Kings and Brats get some nerves and Games Workshop puts effort into legacy armies, the meta would be very balanced. The meta is pretty good at the moment. The problem is there are armies that are bad, and there are armies that are good. And the armies that are good are very good, and the armies that are bad struggle. And we're seeing people do better with the less typical armies. We're just seeing some armies have a lot less internal balance than they do external balance. So Dark Elves, people weren't playing and weren't doing well with. Turns out Double Dragons can win an event. Dragons are strong. They're still strong. I probably wouldn't run that list now with all the poison shooting, but it's, yeah, if you just limit your list to 3 units or 4 units, there's probably 3 or 4 good units in a codex, right? Combat Wombat says, thanks for this. You're very welcome. Thank you for submitting your list. It gives me things to talk about. Okay, so we've got one more list to get through, and then a little bit of chat at the end, and we can wrap up, because I do have some more exciting stuff to go over at the end of this one. Spicy. So, James has submitted a Tomb Kings list, and James did put some chat in as well. So let's have a look what he said. He says, hi guys, not sure how this works. Please correct me if I'm breaking rules. No, you are not at all. Going to a small local tournament, planning on bringing Mortuary Cult. This is the list you've come up with, but have quite a few indecisions. List is designed around leadership debuff and casket nuking. Good start. I like that. Another level 4 with Necromancy would ensure more spiritual vortex and spirit leech, but I'm confident to be getting 3 out of the 4 most games with only 2. I agree. I think 2 Necromancy casters is the sweet spot. I really like that. Idea is to have a decent amount of chaff blocks, and the solo chariot I've heard can be very helpful for dealing with war machines and unprotected wizards. Fair enough. Level 2 with BSB and Law Familiars for Marsh and Column, probably placed in the skeleton unit, others moving around it for Desert Winds. Easily castable with +2 from caskets and +3 from leaking swarms. I think you're only ever getting +1 from caskets. I believe the wording on casket is if you're in range of A. Let's have a look here. Covenant of Power. Yeah, so if you're within 12 inches of a casket of souls, you get +1 to your casting. You don't get +2, you only get +1. That's okay. You're still going to be getting, +4, so you'll be casting at +6 if you're a level 2 caster. So you'll be totally fine with that. Winslow says your Dark Elves took the last train to Dragon Town. That's true. John says, are you saying there's going to be a tier list of fan recommended changes? No, fan recommended changes are usually terrible. I love you all, but even very good players, like back when I was playing 40k, I was talking to some of the best international players in the world, and they'd come out with some absolute stinkers consistently, and they'd be very confident in them. So yeah, I don't know. Or says, damn it, you're number 5 on my line musings. You got to get gaming again to catch up. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to drop off soon. Anyway, you got 3 tournaments in the next 30 days, so hopefully you can gain some ground. I'm sure you can, and I will drop off because I haven't really got much booked in. I've got an event at the end of the month. Yeah, 30th and the 1st. That I'm going to take Wood Elves to, so aiming to win that one. John B says the trash is what we're here for. Yeah, okay, maybe it's a holiday tier list or something like that. Good player does not always mean good rules writer. The community, or just like humans in general, people, players, very good at identifying problems, very bad at suggesting fixes. I think I'm pretty okay at suggesting fixes. I have applied for the rules team a couple of times, and not to throw shade, the last stage design work that they got me to do, some of that ended up in 40k. I'm not saying that they stole my ideas without paying me. I'm saying that some of the ideas that I came up with ended up in the rules that they published just a month or so later. Other people could have come up with them independently. The stuff that I came up with, it was not necessarily super groundbreaking. It was just stuff that I thought needed to fix the game. But yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and point fingers. Not on stream anyway. So we're going back to James's list. Yeah, and so what we saying? The level 1 was to provide another source of a rise or buff another priest. For Curse Blade to assist the both Shabti, and then also the level 4 with Elementalism, but it's hard to fit that in. Yeah, cool. All super reasonable points. So, where are we starting? So, I think there are a lot of ways you can build Mortuary Cult. The way you've gone is pretty solid. The Skeleton Warriors is not the optimal unit, but it's not bad. It's still pretty good. You can use them as like a solid roadblock, and they're 170 points for 30 models with Nakarian flanks. So as long as you're not outnumbered, you do not give ground when you lose combat. This is really solid. First point of order, always put a musician in, just for every unit that can take them that's going to end up in combat. So I think that's the only one in here. Yeah. So Skeleton Warriors, musician. And you might say, oh, what? It doesn't matter if I lose. I'm, Nakarian flanks. I'm not going to give ground. Yeah, but what if you win? And then your opponent has to give ground, and then you choose whether you follow up. Or they just roll like an 11. I had this in my first game at the event I was at last weekend, the RTT. And I was talking about this to my opponent because he was playing a brick of undead. I think it was like just Skeleton Warriors. And my dragon ended up tied up in combat with them for longer than I wanted. There was some issues with I didn't kill quite as much as I wanted to, and ended up getting charged into. So I rolled out what my leadership tests would have been if you had a musician, because we kept tying combat. And the second time I did that, I would have rolled an 11 and I would have genuinely fled, which would have been really bad for me. So spend those 5 points, because it might just win you a game through like pure dumb luck. Anyway, soapboxing aside, I don't like this model. He's gone. Maybe he comes back, but I don't like him. I like a third. I do like a third level 4, but I don't know if I like it in this list, actually. Let's leave it out for now. We've got a Ruby Ring, a Ruin Necromancy. We've got a Law Familiar level 2. I think this is a really solid choice. The BSB gives you rerolls for all of your leadership tests. So you want it. You can go level 1 and just go for the what's it called? Jaff's Incantation of Curse Blades, which gives you real ones to hit, which is really nice for the Shabti. You haven't got enough of Shabti to make that really matter, I think, honestly. Like 4 is fine, but it doesn't really do much for me. I think I like 6. So let's put them up to 6 for now. I think 6 is probably the lowest I'd go. I'd also like a champion here, because if you're getting charged by a dragon, you just want to minimize damage. You want to just stall them as long as possible. You're never winning that combat. So we're going to go Ancient here with 6 models. Characters, we've got a level 4, and a level 2. Yeah, this is kind of budget. This is something, and you don't have to put this in. I really, really like the end kills canopy. So you make a leadership test with a reroll because you're going to be in range of your base. If it's passed, all remains in play spells are dispelled, including your friendly spells, which sucks. But you're going to use this to not lose to Pillar of Fire, basically. But you don't have to put it in. That's very much like sort of choice. Here you've got Tomb Scorpion, Necrosphinx, Chariot. The Chariot is like, it's cool. I don't hate it. I don't know that it makes the cut for me. But I haven't played with it, so I don't know. Maybe that's something that I need you chaps to test and let me know. Because you're currently 53 points over. If we can just go... Honestly, this is probably the problem, right? I think the problem is you've got Tomb Swarms, Anushabti, and Warriors. Let's just go back down to 4. Like, can we go to 5? Okay, we can go to 5. Because I don't think I'd change all that much with the rest of the list, honestly. I think what you've got is fine. So it's not how I would build the list, but it's not bad. Like I say, Mortuary Cult has a lot of different ways to build around. I prefer... So the rare units, love them. Double Casket, single Screaming Skull, great stuff. I might be tempted to go for a second Screaming Skull to make them match up into avoidance armies, like Wood Elves a little better, but it's not massive. I think 2-in-1 is like the best version because it leaves you points to do other things. Tomb Scorpions, you have to have 2. Necrosphinx, I don't love it, but people do. It is a threat. It gives you something. It gives you a bit of a counter charge. Skeleton Chariot, I haven't even thought about using in the way that you said, so that's kind of spicy. And then in the core here, I'd like to see more of Shabti. We've kind of split the difference. We've gone for 5. I think 6 to 8 is like the sweet spot if you want to use them and buff them. And I've dropped the additional level 1. This leaves us 4 points over, so I'm literally just going to go... There we go. I haven't made all that many changes. If there's like a specific direction you want to go in, you definitely could. So let's just quickly talk about that. So hold on. Let's... I don't know if James is here. It'd be ideal if they were, because then I could go at James V. So if I tag you there in post, cool. So the other thing you can do is you can go for a 3rd level 4. So let's say you go for a 3rd level 4. And if you're doing the 3rd level 4, you probably want to be Illusion. So let's see here. So we've got... Not illusion, elementalism. Oh, you can't go elementalism. So the problem with Tomb Kings, Mortuary Cult specifically, is there are 3 or 4 casters that you'd really love to have Lore Familiar on. If you go elementalism, you need to have the elementalism caster. So I guess you can't, in this version of the list, go for it. What I would be doing is I'd go keep this guy level 1, just take it for the Jaff's Curse Blades. Then you go... Necromancy, just these loadouts. This caster here with Elementalism and a Lore Familiar. And then you go get rid of the Skeleton Warriors, probably get rid of the Ushabti, go a big brick of Poison Archers. That would be how I'd run it. But that is not what you've got here. And I don't want to go like significantly out of your model range. So I think I like this. I think with what you've posted, this is pretty solid. And Mortuary Cult's really good. Like, it's hard to go wrong with it. The stats for Tomb King's win rate and S-Bot is currently like 77 or 78%. They're just a very good army. I think Mortuary Cult is a little harder to play. You have to position well. But, yeah, this is solid. The Chariot's spicy. I wouldn't have put it in my list. I'd love to hear how it goes. I think you should play it and you should test it and find out if you like it, because it might be something that's really, really solid. But... yeah, something to test around with. All right, so that is it for the list, but we do have one more thing to go through. So let me just put in here. Where are we at? If you are a new channel member or an old channel member, but you haven't got the role on Discord, please go into the Discord and ping me in the needs role section. After the stream, I will have a look at all of those 10 people who did get generously gifted by Ginger Steve, and I will put the the role on you if you are obviously sort of named the same sort of thing, if I can find you. But if I just go in here, let's go across, let's not try and leak any DMs. So there is a channel called Pick My Army. Here we go. And this is a VIP channel. So currently it is only open to the Grail Knight tier members. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up to anyone who is Longbeard or above. You're only going to be able to chat in it if you are still the Grail Knight tier. But this is the list chat, basically, where the army that I play for the monthly Pick My List game goes in. So what I'll do is I will ping all 3 lists in with an emoji and say, click the emoji you want me to play, and I will leave it up for 24 hours of posting, something along those lines. And yes, so if you are a Longbeard supporter and you're not on the Discord, go into the Need to Roll section, type it in here, let me know that you are, what your YouTube name is so I can link you up, and job's a good one. All right, that's going to be that. Thank you, as always. I do love these streams. Friday streams where I get to just talk to you guys is the way to do it. Have a good evening. I've got a nice chill weekend. I'm going to start playing some Wood Elves, so going to have to do some model updates on those because I'm going to try and paint them nicely and not just do them over the course of a week before an event. Have a good evening.